Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Armchair Booking Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host. My name is Steve Barber, and joining me is the fantastic Dwaylen Davis.
Hey, everybody. My voice is actually a little better tonight, so maybe I won't have that puberty thing going. So,
Yeah, when I was going through kind of editing some things earlier, I heard some cracks, and I'm like,
yeah.
I mean, this is people think what happened to did Dwaylen get in a Wayback Machine, and so, uh, but thank you for everybody who listened to the episode that we released actually this morning. And today is kind of a continuation of that, whereas what we recorded last night was an evolution, or as the way I put it, evolution or de-evolution of
Yeah.
WrestleMania. Kind of a both, really. I think we kind of decided, it evolved, but then it started,
Yeah.
devolving. It's had a
Yeah.
lot of ups and downs. And tonight we're going to be giving our own previews and predictions of WrestleMania 38, which is going to be happening here in a couple of days. And unfortunately, and I don't wish this upon it because it is still WrestleMania, and I don't want it to be a bad event. But on paper, there's so many things wrong with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I agree. I hope it's a good show, especially for the paying fans that are at the arena, because
yes,
that's a lot of time invested if it's not a good show. It's one thing if you invest you paid all this money to go and you invest your time and it's a great show, but if it's a glorified episode of Raw or SmackDown, then it's like I feel sorry for those people that are there.
And I think you actually hit on something yesterday. I think a lot of people this year are going because of the WrestleMania experience.
Yeah.
Because there is so much other stuff going on because, they have the fan access, which they usually do.
Yep.
But WrestleCon is also being held there right now.
Yep. WrestleCon's there right now. Again, there's so many promotions having cards in Dallas this weekend. Impact, there's a Ring of Honor show. The Impact show and the Ring of Honor show are tomorrow night. And then GCW's got a show. Josh Barnett's Bloodsport, they had their show, I think, last night. But yeah, it's going to be a very big weekend for professional wrestling.
And what's the main center point of it all may not even be the best thing.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Which honestly, I mean, it's weird. It may not necessarily be a bad thing because it is kind of giving exposure to a lot of other non-WWE, I was about to say non-federation companies, but non-WWE companies.
Yeah.
And obviously we don't have anything against the WWE because but it's just kind of lets people know, hey, look, there are other businesses out there. There's other companies out there.
Yep.
But before we get started, I want to go ahead and give our contact and listening info. If you'd like to email us, it's armchairbookingpodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/armchairbookingpodcast. You can find the same thing on Instagram at Armchair Booking Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at Booking Armchair. You can find Dwaylen at fat_daddy73. You can find us on TikTok at Armchair Booking Podcast. You can find us on YouTube. Obviously, you already know that if you're watching it. But if you prefer to listen to it, like if you're in your car or you're at work sitting at your computer doing Excel spreadsheets all day like I do, then you can find us on just about any kind of audio listening platform there is. If we're not on there, let us know. Stay away from iHeartRadio. If you're trying to listen to a podcast, now they are very good for other things. Podcasts apparently are not their strong
not their thing. Yeah.
And of course, we are hosted by Block Talk Radio. Have I forgot anything?
Nope. I think you covered it all.
Got it all. Even got your Twitter in there.
Yep.
I'm so happy because, and they should know by now if they do follow the podcast channel on Twitter. If I'm posting something, according with the podcast, I'm going to be tagging you in it anyway.
Right.
So they should already know your handle. If they're not following you, they should be. Shame on y'all. Seriously. Anyway, but want to give always got to give our shout outs first of all to J&Trey. I actually listened to them for a little bit today, and there's a good possibility Justin may actually be joining us later on in the show.
Cool.
Yep. So Justin wasn't able to join us the last time. Remember when we had him on? It was
Yeah.
Trey and it was Jake. So
Yep.
this will actually be a first for Justin. So, but he'll let me know because he's actually at work right now. And I actually yesterday when he was texting while we were recording, I'm like, dude, we're recording. I said, but I mentioned, and he thought that was pretty funny. You know, he said, hey, he said, I'm on your podcast.
Yep.
So, but definitely give a shout out to Justin and Trey, maybe Jake as well. We were just talking about that. I haven't seen Jake in a while, but I know Jake also has a lot going on, and he also has other projects that he does, and he's very good at all of them. So,
Yeah.
super great guys. I actually ordered one of their T-shirts yesterday with their new logo. They have a friend. He's actually mentioning possibly just creating a logo, another logo for us. I'm like, all right, yeah, cool. I mean, I don't have anything, you know. It's like, hey, go for it, you know. And you know, we're going to give a shout out to Ted the Hillbilly Hill and his podcast, you know, the Hill Truth. Go listen there, go check it out. He does a fantastic job. And give a shout out to the Non-Wrestling Podcast, the True Crime Cast, and Bless Their Hearts, both ran by Jamie and John. They don't really talk about their last names, so I don't want to give away their last names.
Right.
Although John, he did give away his last name today on their Bless Their Hearts episode. You know, but they don't just blast it out there. So, you know, since they don't, you know, I respect their privacy. But another couple of great guys. So go check them out. And definitely if you can get some merch, get some merch. And speaking of merch and advertising, if you know anybody that would like to advertise on our podcast, please get them in contact with me and Dwaylen. You know, me or Dwaylen.
Yeah.
You know, because we've actually kind of figured out how to price things, and it's actually not as bad as what I was thinking it was.
No, it's
hundreds
not.
of dollars, and it's not even close. You know, but we do have a pricing tier that is based on where at in the show, whether it's beginning, middle, or end, that you would want your advertisements, how long your advertisement is going to be. You know, and we have a tier system set up for that. So yeah, just absolutely give us a shout, and we'll talk it over and we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. I'm in Canada all of a sudden. We'll figure it out. There we go. So before we get started on the WrestleMania, there was a news item I forgot to mention yesterday. I don't know if you've heard about it. Actually, I think I did tell you about it. We texted about it. Ric Flair has once again burned a bridge.
Yes. This time it was Mark Madden.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, Mark Madden was Ric Flair's new co-host, you know, with his Flair's new podcast.
Yep.
And then I don't know what happened. But it sounds, you know, and this is all according to them. I mean, of course, they've been having a Twitter war, and I have no reason to doubt that it's legit. Because they were like pretty good friends, and all of a sudden, Flair, Madden left the podcast, but apparently Madden saying Flair told him the podcast itself was canceled, but then Conrad Thompson, who was married to Ric Flair's oldest daughter, he actually told Madden, it's like, no, I'm going to be the new co-host. He's like, what? And so, yeah.
So it's like, instead of just saying, you know, I want to have my son-in-law as a co-host.
Yeah.
You know, no hard feelings or anything, but, you know, kind of a family thing. It's like, Rick, what are you doing? I mean, it's like, how many bridges has Rick burned in pro wrestling now?
And, you know, Mark Madden is not just a pro wrestling, and that's he's involved in all sports.
Yeah.
And, you know, so he's and I know he's also kind of a polarizing figure from what I can tell, because he is very outspoken. But I mean, he is very knowledgeable when it comes to sports, and sometimes he's just a little too blunt. You know, if you ever seen like the NFL top 10, you know, their top 10 videos, he's been a commentator on some of those.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always like, okay, this guy, you know, he didn't hold anything back. He just says whatever.
Right.
You know, it's like, okay. But yeah, so once again, Flair has
Flair's being Flair again.
Flair's being Flair. And And when the podcast started, I'm like, okay, this is his third shot at it. Well, how long will this one last? Well, this one dropped quicker than the other two.
Yeah.
And I know his first, the first, I guess, iteration that he had, and this is when Conrad Thompson was really first introduced to everybody too, and he just really didn't say much. He was just there every once in a while to throw he was almost like the straight man.
Yeah.
And Flair was dropping the punchlines. There was one I couldn't tell you who was on it because they also did it. They did a lot of interviews. I don't remember who was on it, but Flair was very obviously drunk.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, he was slurring really badly slurring his words and a couple of and then come to find out, yeah, he got in a little bit of heat for that because it was being hosted by CBS Viacom. And they're like, we don't care.
They're like,
who you
no,
are.
no. Yeah.
And so they dropped them. They came up with with a different host, but then it didn't last long because Flair said he said he doesn't have the attention span to try to devote to it. I'm like, all right, I get that. I mean, I can't. He's saying I can't give full time because he was on Legends contract, so he was having to do appearances with WWE. That's not an excuse now because they dropped him after the Plane Ride from Hell video came out. So, I mean, I don't wish anybody, failure, but at the same time, if he wants to succeed, he better calm his 73-year-old butt down.
Yeah.
So, it's like, okay. But anyway, I was trying to think of any other wrestling news that may have happened in the past, 23 hours.
No, nothing I can think of.
Yeah.
I take that back. There is one thing, but it has to do with the WrestleMania card. So I'll work that in when we get to that point.
Okay. All right. So we'll go ahead and do as we normally do. In fact, this one there's 2 nights worth. So I think there's 14 matches. Yeah. 14 matches listed. So I don't know how much time we can devote to each one, but of course, some of these are like, okay, next.
Yeah, some of these are going to be like, that's a glorified Raw or SmackDown main event. So
yeah,
there's no need to devote a lot of time to some of these. And no disrespect to anybody who's in these matches, but it is what it is. Some of these are not WrestleMania worthy matches, and the card's bloated enough as it is. I feel like some matches are going to get cut because there are so many matches on the card, even split over 2 nights. 14 matches is a lot.
Yeah. But I'm going to go through the order that they have them on the Wikipedia article. And I don't know if this is the order they're going to have them on the show, because the very first one they mention is Becky and Bianca. I would hope to God that's not the opening match, even though it might be that. Well, if it's going to be there to set the tone for everything, it may not be bad. Because there have been times Cena was the opening match for things, and it, because they knew Cena could bring it. Well, we know these 2 women can bring it.
Yeah.
So
the only problem with them opening though is we know that we know what kind of match they can give us. So if they give us that classic match, then nobody else is going to be able to follow that.
Right. Because, you couldn't have anything follow Bianca and Sasha a couple years ago.
Nope.
I mean, you couldn't do it. Or was that? No, that was last year. God, it just feels like it was years ago because
it feels like it's been, yeah.
God, yeah, that was just last year. But yeah, I wouldn't want to follow this match.
No, I wouldn't either. Especially with the way they've actually built this match well. And so I am looking forward to this match. And I mean, we know Becky shines on the big stage. Bianca's proof she shines on the big stage. So I think it's going to be a stellar match. I think Bianca should win. I think Bianca's going to win.
I agree. Bianca should win. And actually, I don't have any reason to doubt she will win. I think they're they are probably going to try to pull some shenanigans again with the hair because that's already been.
Yeah, that's already been brought up, but it's
Mhm.
like it's not going to hurt Becky at this point. Becky
No.
is a big enough star. Her, her place is cemented. It's not going to hurt her to take this loss.
And I think it'll be a very, very good match too. At least it's better.
Yeah.
Unlike some of the rest of the ones on. Yeah. But the next match, I think, is one of those ones. It would be a glorified Raw match or SmackDown match, except for the fact that it has Logan Paul involved. And
this is one of those matches I do not care anything about this match. Rey Mysterio deserves better.
Yes, he does. Dominic deserves better.
Dominic deserves better.
The Miz deserves better.
Well, nah.
I like Miz.
This is kind of Miz's wheelhouse. It's
that's true. To be obnoxious.
Yeah, to be obnoxious and have the celebrity person out there and all that. But it's like, for me, Logan Paul has no business in a WWE ring, or not just a WWE ring. He has no business in a wrestling ring at all. And it's like, he's been doing the celebrity boxing thing. You do what you do over there, but leave my wrestling alone. Just stay far away from there. I think the smart move would be for the Mysterios to win, to have the baby faces win, because they've been pulling all this shenanigans with stealing Rey Mysterio's mask and all this stuff, which I personally find very disrespectful.
I do too. Yeah.
Because there's so much, there's so much honor and lineage and prestige that, the luchadors tie to their mask. And to have Logan Paul running around with Rey Mysterio's mask on, it's like, I don't care that it's a storyline. I just find that very disrespectful to Rey Mysterio and to all the other masked luchadors.
Yeah, because the mask in Mexican wrestling, I can't think of any other country that really does this, where the mask, just is a part of their character.
Yes, it's sacred.
Yeah,
like Andrade, when he wrestled for New Japan Pro Wrestling, he still wore his mask, even though he was wrestling in Japan. Yeah, he still wore his mask. He was the Intercontinental Champion over there.
Okay. But it's not like in the States and Canada, where a lot of times, you'll see, some characters, they do have a mask, and the people really, they're not trying to unmask them. But you have some, like the Midnight Rider.
Yeah.
We knew it was Dusty Rhodes. Charlie Brown.
Mr. America was Hulk Hogan.
Yes. He didn't even try to hide the mustache either.
I know. It's like,
he said, "No, I'm not him, brother." Who's some other ones? Yellow Dog. That was Barry Windham, or then later on, I think Brian Pillman tried to use it. And
Brian Pillman used it. Yeah, in a feud with Barry Windham.
With Barry Windham, yes.
Yeah, I like how they did that. Yeah. Yeah.
Junkyard Dog was Stagger Lee.
Yeah.
Or Stagger Lee was Junkyard Dog.
Yeah.
And then the Machines, Giant Machine. We knew that was Andre. Of course, I didn't know who the other two were until later on. It was Blackjack Mulligan and Bill Eadie. They were the Super Machine and Strong Machine.
Yeah.
But then later on, they had Hulk Machine, Piper Machine, some other ones. But that's a lot different than, that's like, I'm trying to hide my identity because, you don't know who I am. Just like Mr. J was finally unveiled to be Juice.
Right.
Totally caught me off guard. But anyway.
Like Mil Mascaras, even on public appearances, it was always.
Yeah, he always wore his mask.
Nobody in public ever saw him without that mask.
Yep. And they said that he was also an actor. And, and now I'm starting to wonder how much that was true, because I'm like, how's he going to have time to act when he's always wrestling? But yeah, I don't know. Mil Mascaras, of course, Mil Mascaras, 1,000 Faces. He had a lot of different masks.
Yes, he did.
But apparently he also had a bad attitude when it come to no yob. That was always the famous saying. Now was
he was Hulk Hogan level protective of his spot.
Yes, and that's why when in the Royal Rumble in '97, was that the one in San Antonio?
Trying to think. Yes, 97, because that's the one, because Austin won that one. Yeah.
Yeah,
97. Yeah. He eliminated himself because
himself.
he wasn't going to let anybody else eliminate him.
Right. And but I mean, you didn't see people trying to take his mask off, and now
Nope.
apparently they think, because Rey Mysterio did take his mask off in WCW, which he took it off, they're like, all right, now what?
Yeah.
Who was the other one? Was it Juventud?
Yeah, Juventud lost his mask. Psychosis lost his. Like every luchador, every top luchador in WCW ended up losing their mask, and that was an Eric Bischoff idea. And I don't even as far back as Halloween Havoc when Rey Mysterio wrestled Eddie Guerrero. They had that 5-star classic when Rey was wearing the Phantom inspired outfit, the purple outfit with the mask attached. The original plan was for Eddie to remove the mask during the match. Rey said no, and they were going to go ahead with it anyway. They pretty much were forcing him to go along with the match. And then Eddie Guerrero told Rey, he pulled him aside. He's like, if you don't want to take your mask off, I'm 100% behind you, and we won't do the spot. So they just never did the spot.
Yeah, because Eddie got it, obviously.
Yeah, Eddie got it. Yeah.
I mean, growing up Mexican American, with the luchadors.
Yeah.
Obviously based in Mexico. So yeah, Eddie definitely got it.
Yeah.
And I just didn't understand their fashion. Well, let's take all the masks off.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Oh no. It really didn't do anything. Okay, it's just them without the mask, but it just, to me, it took away from the character.
Yep, exactly. It took that mystique away, and it didn't really help any of the guys that lost their masks.
Yep. And who was it Sin Cara? Or there was Sin Cara and there was somebody else that was kind of associated with Sin Cara. One of them, I want to say it was Alberto Del Rio, was doing something and he accidentally pulled his mask up and he himself pulled it back down. He's like, whoop.
Yeah.
Because he's like, ooh, my bad.
Yeah.
And he did, he didn't do it on purpose. And he even respected that. He wasn't go, oh, look what I got. He covered him back up.
Yeah.
Oh, but either way, I mean, yeah, this match is a travesty.
Yeah, I think, like I said, the Mysterio should win, but I have a feeling there's going to be some shenanigans, and it would not surprise me if Miz and Logan Paul win this match.
And Logan Paul gets a pin.
Yeah, it would not surprise me if Logan Paul doesn't pin Rey Mysterio to win this match.
Oh, and I was thinking, because we've been teasing Dominic turning on Rey now for a while. This actually would be a perfect time to do it. Yeah.
It would be a perfect time to do it, but I don't think they're gonna pull the trigger on that because Rey doesn't want to feud with Dominic.
Which, I mean, I can't blame him. I mean,
yeah.
Brother against brother, cousin against cousin, feuds kind of work. Father against son, does not.
That's a completely different thing.
Yeah. But speaking of breaking up, the next match that's listed is Drew McIntyre and Happy Corbin, who Madcap Moss is accompanying Happy Corbin.
Oh God, I do not care about this match either.
And it's sad. I mean,
I just need this to be over. Drew McIntyre deserves so much better.
Yes.
I need Happy Corbin to go back to broke Corbin. That's that was so much more entertaining, because this Happy Corbin thing, it's obnoxious, but not entertaining obnoxious. This is just, please go away.
Yeah, I will change the channel.
Yeah, I need you and Madcap to just go far, far away. But I need this to be a squash. I need Drew to hit the ring, hit the Claymore, pin him, and be done with it.
But I think this is when Madcap Moss is going to turn face, because they've been teasing that.
They have been teasing that. Yeah.
And Madcap Moss, I mean, he did actually get a lot of people's respect when they had that botch where.
Yeah.
Actually, he did kind of the same thing Big E did. If you really think about it, he came right down on his head.
Yeah.
But Madcap Moss, he's another guy. He's jacked up, kind of like Big E.
Yeah.
And so he was able to recover from it. I mean, and everybody was like, "Oh, that dude. Okay, he's a lot tougher than his gimmick, and his gimmick is just stupid."
Yeah, his gimmick's just dumb. But Drew is winning this. There's no way Drew McIntyre is not winning this, because this is what they've been building this up for months. And
Drew's going to win it. Corbin's going to blame Madcap Moss. Madcap Moss is going to press slam him.
yep.
There we go. Okay, next match. So
exactly. I mean,
that's like next.
That's it.
I mean, I was going to say Happy Corbin. He comes on, and I'm like, I'm going to turn the channel and text Dwaylen to have him tell me when the match is over. But the problem is, Dwaylen's also going to be texting me wanting to know when the match is over.
Yeah, because I'm not watching that. No.
Yeah. So yeah. Well, the next one listed is the Usos against Shinsuke and Rick Boogs. It's another Raw SmackDown match, to be honest with you, but
yeah, this is a SmackDown main event. This is not a WrestleMania match. Yeah. Nothing against Shinsuke, but him and Rick Boogs have just been thrown together because, again, you can't release 100 people over 2 years and then try to have a tag team division,
right?
And the team that should be there is the Viking Raiders, and you have them in a handicap match against Omos, and they lose in like 58 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, they totally killed any kind of momentum that they had. They will never get that momentum back either.
No,
I mean, it's too much damage.
They killed that act right there. If I was them, I would have went backstage and asked for my release right then, because there's no coming back from that. You go from Viking Raiders, have won tag gold everywhere. New Japan, Ring of Honor, NXT, former Raw tag team champions, and this is what you do with them. You just feed them the Omos.
Yeah. And I mean, he's a legit monster. I wouldn't want to get in a fight with him.
Yeah. I mean, he's a legit monster, but I mean, that's why you have enhancement talent. The same way that when they were building up Braun Strowman, feed him some local guys. That way the local guys get some exposure on worldwide television, and you're not burying one of your tag teams.
And I just thought about something about Rick Boogs, because when they put them together, they told Rick Boogs, we want you to learn Shinsuke's song on the guitar. Mm-hmm. And he said it took him 12 hours to learn. I'm like, it took you 12 hours to learn that, really? That song's not that hard. But I'm like, if y'all needed a guitar player, you already had one. They already had Elias.
Mm-hmm.
And he's probably like standing in the back. Yeah, I'm going to get a prop. He's standing in the back, and here's Vince saying, I need a guitar player. He's like,
me. Yeah, it's like I literally have a guitar in my hand. But I don't know. To me, there's no reason that Shinsuke, even though they've been building toward this and they've been hinting at this, to me, there's no reason why Shinsuke and Boogs should win the tag team titles. Keep them on the Usos.
Yeah.
The bloodline's working. Keep the titles on the Usos. Do not sacrifice their championship reign for a throwaway tag team.
And the Usos are probably the most natural team in the company. They're twin brothers.
Exactly.
I mean, you cannot get any closer than that.
But I mean, because if you put the titles on Boogs and Shinsuke, it's obvious they're not going to do anything with Shinsuke. Every time he gets a championship, he just holds it. He doesn't defend it. I mean, he went 100. I think they even said it on SmackDown. He went over 100 days without even defending the Intercontinental title when he was champion. And it's like
that used to be grounds for stripping the title.
Yep, 30 days, and the title would be vacated.
Yep, but they said a couple years ago, "Oh, we're not going to do that anymore."
Yeah.
Then what are you doing?
Nothing. Using the title as a prop.
Oh, yeah, but this, like you said, this is a SmackDown main event.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The next match,
honestly, not a very good one.
No, I mean it. And the sad thing is, I love watching Shinsuke work.
Yeah, I do too.
Boogs is actually, besides the Rick Boogs, because everybody loves just saying that.
Yeah.
And it's like, but the man can work. I mean, and he's another powerhouse.
He can work. Yeah. And of course, the Usos are going to give you a great match in their sleep. Yeah. So,
and they've been adding more moves to their tag team repertoire too.
Yep.
So that part, I mean, I also like about them. I mean, they're making tag teams again. But if that was a SmackDown main event, the next match is just on SmackDown somewhere, because I don't see any reason for it. Well, I get the reason for it. So they do have a legitimate reason, but New Day against Sheamus and Ridge Holland with Butch.
Yeah, this was supposed to be a 6-man. Of course, Big E got injured. Right. So they're going through with this, but yeah, this is a middle of the show SmackDown show.
Yeah,
this is the middle of the show SmackDown match is what I meant.
This is that one like close to the top of the hour that they're going to interrupt with 3 commercials.
Yep.
And they won't even give us picture in picture.
No, they're just going to cut away, come back. Somebody's already lost.
Yeah,
but
you don't need to know.
The New Day should win, just because it'll pop the crowd, make the crowd happy, have the good guys win. But I think Sheamus and his crew are going to win that one.
And sadly, this one actually has a legit reason for the match. It's you hurt my partner. I mean, and we know it was an accident. He didn't intentionally, try to break Big E's neck. Because I think if you intentionally tried to break E's neck, good luck.
Yeah.
You better pack about three lunches, a 5-course dinner, and some ice cream on the side.
Yeah.
Because you're not just going to hurt Big E. I mean,
right.
And think about how if he hadn't have been in the shape he was in, he probably would have killed him. But I mean, he came right down on his head.
Yeah.
But that actually gives a legitimate reason for the match, and so this could be a grudge revenge match. And so that the storyline has the potential that the match itself is not going to deliver on.
Right. Yep. And me personally, I'm tired of Sheamus. Just go away. I've never been a Sheamus fan. I've never been all that impressed with Sheamus. And now it's like, those peak years for him are gone. And it's like, but they keep him hovering around like the top of the mid card. And it's like, can he just get out of the way? There's other people that need that, that need that spot now.
And because they're not even using him to try to get people over.
No, he's just beating everybody. And it's like, what is that doing for anybody?
And this right here, it would almost seem like they're trying to transition him into like being a manager, kind of like MVP. Now, MVP, I know, got hurt. And so he was forced to go in a manager role, but MVP has done so good at it. I don't want to see him wrestle again,
right?
Because he is that good as a manager.
Yeah.
But Sheamus like, okay, they need to decide: is he going to manage? Or is he going to wrestle?
Yeah.
Figure it out.
This will be the perfect opportunity for him to manage Ridge Holland and Pete Dunne. I'm not calling him Butch. I just can't. I'm not. He said he's fine with it. He said it's just a name. He said it gives him something new to build on. I understand that and all respect, but he's Pete Dunne to me. So I can't call him Butch.
Yeah. He may be saying in front of the camera, "Oh, I'm okay with the name. Yeah, it's a great name."
Yeah.
Camera goes off. He's like, "You know what? Screw every last second of this."
Yeah, this is dumb.
this is dumb.
Really, really dumb.
Butch isn't the Butch name of like one of the bad guys in the Little Rascals. So there you go. I think Vince must be reverting back to his childhood.
It's probably something Vince thought was funny because that's what everything is based on, as if Vince McMahon is amused by it or not.
Oh, but the next match, and you have your prediction on, one part of this. It's Seth Rollins versus a mystery opponent.
Okay. This is what I was talking to at the beginning of the show.
I had a feeling this is it because I did see some. Yeah. I didn't watch it, but I did see a headline.
I think, me personally, it's got to be Cody Rhodes. They have built this up and implied it so much in the last several weeks on Raw. It has to be Cody. But Dave Meltzer had a report today. Again, with Dave Meltzer, you kind of always got to take things with a grain of salt.
Yep.
But he said that people close to Cody have said that he's thinking of backing out of the WrestleMania match this weekend. No reason why. None of that's been confirmed. But I don't think that'll happen. I think this is the biggest possible stage for Cody to come back on. This is even, I mean, I know the Raw after WrestleMania is always the show where everybody, you know, you got debuts or people returning from injury and all that. But this is the perfect spot for Cody to show up. A former AEW EVP and, one of the foundations of building that company showing up in enemy territory for,
Right.
And I think it'll be Cody. I don't think he's going to back out. I mean, if he does, I'll be very surprised. But I think it'll be Cody. He's going to get a huge ovation. Cody's going to win this match because there's no reason for him not to. Because it would be dumb to have all of this build up, have him re-debut at WrestleMania, and then have Seth beat him. And Seth can take a loss, and it's not, especially with his character work right now, Seth can take that loss and it's not going to hurt.
And I just not thought of something. It wouldn't be the first time they had like a big debut at a WrestleMania and had the person lose.
That's true.
First one I'm thinking of is Sting.
Yeah.
Sting should have beat Triple H.
Yep.
Sting had 2 matches in the WWE, one against Triple H, other against Seth Rollins.
Yep.
And he got hurt.
Yep.
Personally, kind of a side note, I think the buckle bomb ought to be banned because I think it's a very dangerous move.
Yeah, there's not really a safe way to take that move.
And that's what it is. I mean,
yeah.
The person given the move they can do whatever they can to try to be safe. But once that person's in midair,
yeah,
the only thing they could do is, okay, how am I landing, against this object?
Yeah.
And, and so far he's hurt Finn Balor, he's hurt Sting. I know he's hurt some other people, and not intentionally, but
yeah, not intentionally, but yeah. I've never been a person for banning moves, but that's one that I think they need to just quietly remove from his repertoire.
Yeah, kind of like the pile driver. Only the Undertaker and Kane were allowed to use it.
Yeah.
So because they were the only ones who knew how to do it safely. But I can't think of anybody else it could be.
I can't either. There's a rumor that Shane McMahon's going to be in Dallas.
I saw that.
If they pull that swerve, they talk about killing your show. If they pull that swerve and it's Shane McMahon coming out, they're going to turn that whole show.
And I think that's part of because Vince has always been one to, the way the Aftermax used to put it, they were always insulting the intelligence of the fans.
Always. He's still doing it after all these years. And that's something that's always bothered me as a fan is, don't insult my intelligence. I understand. I know I'm not in the business and know all the ins and outs, but a lot of times it just takes a little bit of common sense to see what's going on.
Right. And, some of the fans, I mean, we're part of the IWC, the internet wrestling community.
Yep.
But when we're reading, okay, the reason why the Rumble was just a garbage heap this year, a lot of it was because Shane was the one.
Shane was the one producing it, and Shane's ego got in the way, and Shane wanted to focus it around himself
and put himself in a Rumble match.
Yeah,
put him in over other people who were more deserving.
He booked himself to outstrike Matt Riddle. It's like, come on. Yeah, that was Shane's idea. That's why the exchange with him and Riddle, and he got the best of that exchange because that was Shane's idea. Because Shane thinks that he is the absolute toughest man in the entire world. It's like you're a 50-year-old overly tanned father. Go sit down and play with your children.
Yeah, he is 50 now. I know he's a couple years older than we are.
Yeah.
And we're 48. That's wow. But who do you think is going to win? If it's Cody should win. The mystery opponent of Cody's caliber should win.
Yeah.
But then again, I can't think of, like I said, Cody, Shane, Marco Stunt. It could be Marco Stunt.
Here's the thing. I've also heard that I haven't heard WWE confirm it, but I've seen a lot of reports that the winner of this match will challenge the winner of Brock and Roman at WrestleMania Backlash, which I'm just going to call Backlash because WrestleMania Backlash is a dumb name.
I can't call it WrestleMania Backlash. I mean,
yeah. But if that's the case, it's got to be Cody, because Cody's going to get a big ovation simply for showing up, because it's Cody Rhodes back in WWE. Cody Rhodes is going to be the natural bad guy. He's going to be the heel, because he's the outsider from another company.
Yeah.
Coming in. He's going to be the bad guy. So whoever is, I know we'll get to our predictions on the champion, but whoever that champion is going to be the face by default, because Cody's going to be the heel, and Cody is a brilliant heel. Cody's a good face, but he's a better heel because he understands how to get that heat and just walk that line to where, is he a face? Is he a heel? And he'll lean more into the heelish parts of it without going over the top.
But is Brandy going to be with him?
No. Brandy's not going to be with him. Brandy didn't. Cody has re-signed. Brandy didn't re-sign.
Okay. I mean, granted, she may be staying at home with Kid Runnels too. So,
well, she's got some other stuff going on. She's going to have, because she did this thing on the AEW YouTube channel. It was like a cooking show. And she'd have guests on there and stuff with different wrestlers and things like that. And I think she's going to have her own show. I think she's going to continue to do that, but it's going to be her own YouTube channel.
Okay. So something not wrestling. I mean, something. Okay.
Yeah.
As long as she wears the chocolate milk shirt.
Yeah, because
that's awesome. We're family friendly, so that's as far as we'll go.
Yeah, as far as we're going, but brilliant.
Now, granted, I like the shirts we're wearing. I mean, I'm kind of partial to these. And if you would like a shirt of this on your own, just go to tpublic.com/user/armchair-booking-podcast. You can find this shirt amongst a couple of other ones. You can find coffee mugs. You can find travel coffee mugs. See. You can find your phone cases. You can find your mask. I'm not going to try to pull it out right now. I've been having to keep it with me though, because I've had to make a couple stops on the VA, and they still require you to wear a mask.
Yeah.
It's like I went to go get my prescription updated. So I've got some glasses coming in the mail in 5 to 6 weeks. They're going to be the lineless bifocals with the photosensitive lenses.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that means I'm officially getting old. But I still had to wear the mask there. And you can find notebooks, pillowcases. I mean, it's amazing the kind of stuff they have there. Just go in there, and they are always having some kind of sale. I've seen 15% off. I've seen 40% off. I mean, 40% off. I mean, you don't see that very often.
Yeah.
So the only time you actually see that, like in a regular store, is like if you go to Walmart and you're going to the electronics section and you see the big bins where they're selling these Blu-rays for like $3.
Yeah.
And looking there, I've never heard of this movie.
Yeah.
That's why it's $3.
That's why it's in here.
Yeah, that's why it's in there. But I mean, and they have good quality stuff. I mean, you have on one of the shirts. I have on one of the shirts. I mean, they're quality products. I've actually gotten other shirts from there besides just ours. And so if we didn't think they were quality, we wouldn't go with them.
Exactly.
But yeah, so like I said, tpublic.com/user/armchair-booking-podcast. Now the last match for night one is listed as Charlotte and Rhonda. I think Charlotte should win. I think Rhonda will win.
Okay, for me, I just need the ring to open up and just swallow them both. But if I have to pick one, Rhonda's winning this. They're not, because
that's what I say. I think Rhonda will win.
Yeah, there's no, even even should, as much as I hate to say, Rhonda should win this just because I'm simply tired of Charlotte with the belt.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like there are other women on that roster that could be the SmackDown Women's Champion. It's like, give us a break from Charlotte. I'm not saying maybe she can't get it again down the line, but we just need a break from Charlotte. And if it has to be Rhonda, then so be it. But I think Rhonda should win. I think Rhonda's going to win.
And one of the things that Justin has pointed on their podcast, and this is the perfect time to mention this, there is not one special stipulation match on this card.
Nope, not a single one.
And this match should be one. This should be a submission match.
Submission match. Yeah. That's what yep. It's exactly what I thought. And I mean, they've been teasing that in the build. I mean, Rhonda's even learned
the ankle lock.
The ankle lock. And here's the funny thing. Rhonda's been, pushed to the moon and all that. But who's training her for this match?
Probably Charlotte.
Shayna Baszler is training Ronda
Really?
Rousey. She's been training with Shayna Baszler to get ready for this match. So it's like, so Shayna's good enough to train your pet project, but you can't push Shayna. So Shayna's supposed to teach Ronda what she knows about wrestling, which is quite a lot more than Ronda knows about pro wrestling. But Shayna can't get that kind of push when Shayna is absolutely the more complete wrestler.
It makes me wonder, what is it they think that Shayna is missing, to where she couldn't be the one on top of the mountain?
Because Vince McMahon doesn't understand her gimmick. You're literally booking the same gimmick on night two.
She's not a gimmick. I mean, she is. Yeah, that's
exactly. She's legit. Just like, okay,
why she is the female Brock Lesnar. She's the the legitimate MMA fighter from North Dakota.
Yeah,
Brock Lesnar. Well, I think he's from South Dakota. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Yeah, but Ronda's winning this. There's no way. Yeah. There's no way she's not.
Oh, I mean, and one thing I think Shayna Baszler, I'm pretty sure she's teaching Rhonda how to be a professional wrestler. They say, look, if they start booing you, just go with it.
Just deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and because that's what caused her to quit the first time. I hate you guys. Well, sorry, Rhonda, go cash your, $1.5 million check and go on home then.
Yeah. Yep.
I could use that money. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I was asked today, would I let Will Smith slap me for $500,000? I'd let him slap me for a quarter of that. I got kids to feed.
Exactly. I got kids to feed. I got a house to pay for. So
yeah.
Come on, right
here. I mean, I'll even put my hands behind my back.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so that's night one. But before we go to night two, I have something that I just have to show everybody. And real quick question: when we are like on here, are you on like the left or the right? And there's a reason why I'm asking.
Looking at my screen, I'm on the right.
Okay, so mine, you're on my left.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it won't matter, but I've got to share this, and I have to thank our friend Alan Thomas. Remember he did the watch along with us back in November, and I said, hey, do you have a copy of the yearbook from 1991? And he said, I do. I said, can you do me a favor and scan the two pictures from this one particular section? And he looked and he's like, oh, wow. Yes, absolutely. and so I had to go find, he sent me this picture. And yes, that is me and Dwaylen. Please don't make me explain who's who. But now, like I said, I showed my boss today. My boss, I mean, yeah, he's kind of funny. He's like, is that you on the left? And I almost said, yes.
Yeah.
But you've heard us talk about how Dwaylen and I, we were part of the chess club, not just part of the chess club in high school, our senior year. We were officers on the chess club.
Yep.
This was part of the picture taken of the officers. because remember Sean Toy. I mean, I scaled it down to just us, but Sean Toy was a president, which for good reason. Because if you knew Sean, I mean, he was a very, very good chess player.
Mm-hmm.
Joylyn was the vice president. I was the treasurer, I believe.
I believe so. Yeah.
And then another guy named Richard Armstrong is right behind me, and he was the other. You know, if he wasn't, he and I were the secretary and treasurer. Not like we did anything, but now Mr. Underwood's not in the picture. I just not thought about that. You know, because he was one who sponsored the chess club. But that's why the chess set is sitting here in front of Joylyn. And I gotta quote you, Joylyn. When I first sent you this picture, your immediate reaction was, "Oh my God, I look like Urkel."
That's exactly what my my oldest daughter Savannah. She said the same thing. I showed her the picture, and she's like, "Oh my God, Daddy, you look like Urkel." I said, "Yes, I'm aware."
Yeah, and you know, normally when I'm doing a screen share, I'll actually, you know, I had these two pictures in the corner down, but this one I've decided to leave them up just to show. Yeah, we've changed quite a bit.
Yeah.
Because I mean, and we're talking this before we started recording. You know, your box cut wasn't at its full glory here.
Yeah, I was in between haircuts.
My mullet that I had back then, I mean, it wasn't as long as what it eventually got. You know, but I had that. I had the stonewash denim jacket. Yeah, we were, you know, with the mullet, and I mean, you had a little bit of, you know, a little bit of a mustache there. I have absolutely none. And
it took me a long time to grow all of this.
Yeah.
I'm talking forever to grow all of this.
And so for those of y'all, you know, when we say Dwayne and I have known each other for over 30 years, this picture was 31 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I just figured I'd share it. It had to be done. Just, you know, and obviously, you know, neither one of us are embarrassed by it because that's who we were.
No.
So,
yeah.
But now on to the second night. You know, they don't have the Andre the Giant Battle Royal listed on here, probably because it's going to be held tomorrow night. It's going to be on.
Yeah, it's going to be on SmackDown.
Yep. Right before they have the Hall of Fame induction. Oh, did we even mention the Steiners going in?
We didn't. Forgot about that.
Yeah,
the Steiners are going in the Hall of Fame, but I mean, right now they've got Undertaker, Vader, Sharmell, and the Steiners.
One of these things is not like the other.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out, besides the fact that she's from Texas, so they didn't have to pay a huge transportation fee.
I mean, she's from Texas and she's Booker T's wife, but I mean, no disrespect to her, but what contribution has she made to professional wrestling? She wasn't a manager. She wasn't a commentator. She wasn't a ring announcer. She wasn't a wrestler. Nothing.
She was more of a valet.
Yeah,
a valet role than anything else. And
I mean, that was mainly in a bunch of backstage skits with Teddy Long, and then she was Queen Sharmell when Booker T was the king.
King Booker. 5 times. That's why he couldn't win it again, because it'd kill that gimmick.
Yeah.
You know, 5 times. Well, 6. No, 5.
Yeah, but he did win it 6 times.
But
he won the WCW title 5, but then he won the World Heavyweight title once in WWE. So,
but you know, he still said 5 times.
He still says 5 times. Yeah.
But she didn't do anything, you know, positive or negative, you know, but nothing she did really left a lasting impact.
Right.
You know, and that's what I look for, is the impact that the person left. I mean, we know Undertaker, obviously we know the impact he had. Vader, one of the best big men ever. I mean, the man was 400 pounds doing moonsaults off the top rope.
Yep.
The Steiners, and I know a lot of people have some issues with Scott Steiner going in. He's not going in solo. He's going as part of the Steiner brothers. And
Steiners are still, for me, top 1. They're in the top 5 greatest tag teams of all time.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, the things they were able to do with guys of their size. I mean, you got to think, Scott was the smaller of the two when they were tagging, and he was about 240 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And he was doing, muscle. And he was doing Hurricane Ranas, and just some of the moves that they came up with were just ridiculous.
Now that one, one of the only times I will ever correct you. Nope. It's the the Frankensteiner.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah, him
yeah,
as a Frankensteiner.
yeah.
Well, not just because of what it's named after him, but because he always did it straight back, whereas a Hurricane Rana they always
That's
twist.
true. Yeah, that's true.
Um, but the fact he could
But
do it from just a standing jump, he didn't have to
yeah,
run and jump up. I mean, he did it. They're coming at him. He jumps up, and like you said, I I was kind of surprised about how not tall he was
hmm
when I
yep,
met him. I mean, he's maybe about 5'10",
yeah,
and Rick Steiner same way because I mean we always saw him on TV. I mean, they just looked huge, and now granted they are still jacked,
yeah,
but I mean he's 5'10"
yeah,
and jumping up. I mean, I couldn't jump up and wrap my legs around somebody's head and then immediately
and
do a
then
backflip
yep,
and gripping them with your legs to bring them over.
and I mean, look at what they've done in wrestling. I mean, they've won the IWGP tag team titles, WWE, NWA, WCW. I mean, if there were tag belts to win, they've won them.
Yeah. And both of them were able to reinvent themselves
hmm
from how they first started. Because I mean, Rick Steiner, remember he was part of Hot Stuff Incorporated.
Yep.
With
He's
Eddie
part of
Gilbert and Sting.
Yep, he was part of Hot Stuff Incorporated, and then he was in the Varsity Club,
Yep. And
which I love. The Varsity Club.
oh
That
yeah,
was
absolutely.
that.
That it wouldn't surprise me if Jim Ross was the one who actually came up with that because he was very big about college athletes, and he would
Yeah.
always say, "Hey, they're from this college, this college." I mean, because it gave them a legitimate background.
Yeah.
But then when they were a team together, their matches that they had like with Harlem Heat, and then so the matches because they also went against the Road Warriors at times, and they were giving them just hard hitting brutal matches.
Yeah. If you want to see some hard hitting matches, check out go to the WCW section on anybody that's not familiar with the Steiners' work and want to see some hard hitting tag team wrestling. Go check out the Steiners versus Doom.
I was going to say Doom was the other tag team I was missing.
Yeah, anytime that they wrestled Doom, those matches were fantastic.
Yeah, because they had the match with Doom, and this is when they still had the masks on. And I felt really stupid because I had not figured out who they were yet.
Oh, really?
I had figured out that one of them was Butch Reed right as the match started because I had literally also had just figured out that they were black. I don't know why I didn't notice that before. I mean, didn't even realize it. Well, I also didn't realize that Johnny B. Bad, wasn't black.
Right.
Until all of a sudden, like everything he was doing looked like Little Richard started fading away. I'm like, that's a white dude. Man, he did that pretty well.
Yeah.
But I had just figured out it was Butch Reed. And during that match, remember, I think it was Rick Steiner ran by him and grabbed the mask and just pulled it right off of him. He was like, he like, and of course, then after they won, then Ron Simmons had to unmask.
Had to take his off.
Yeah.
Or they'd be like the stipulation was if either of them refused to take the mask off, then they would be suspended for 6 months.
Both of them would be.
Both of them would be suspended for 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to say, woman Nancy Sullivan, she was their manager.
Yep.
But yeah, like Dwaylen said, you want to see some just hard hitting, brutal matches with four just naturally just big, strong athletes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Steiners against Doom. Because did Butch Reed play college ball anywhere?
I think he did. I'm not sure where, but I think he played college ball too.
Because if he didn't, you know what? I'm gonna look it up right now. Because Butch Reed was always another one that was known for just being like ridiculously strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, he played Central Missouri.
Okay. Good.
So there we go. We knew it. But yeah, so the Steiners are going in. That was just kind of announced just like a couple of days ago. They're like, hey, by the way, Steiners are going in.
Yeah, Steiners going in.
It's like, and actually another match with the Steiners that if you ever get a chance to check it out, it is the Steiners against the Harts, and it was a rare face versus face.
Yeah.
Match.
Yeah.
And there was they pulled off some moves in that match that were well. And I say it was Scott Steiner pulled off some moves in that match that even this day, just watching them, I'm still just like, it was the first time I ever saw that suplex pile driver thing that he did, where he's holding him up for a vertical suplex and then
Steiner
dropping.
screwdriver. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Because he did against Owen, and it was like, oh, I mean, it just came out of nowhere. And then the other one was that I think they were referring to it as a tilt-a-whirl slam, where they're coming off the ropes. He does against the ropes, and they're coming off, and he grabs them from the side, but then picks them up and then twists them all the way around, and then comes down with them. Bam! I mean, and it's so quick.
Yeah.
And I want to say he did that one to Brett. But the match ended in a double DQ. And then, of course, they all shook hands and hugged afterwards. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean, just.
I didn't mean to get mad. I'm sorry.
Sorry, man. We're all good guys. We can't be mad at each other. But yeah, the match itself is absolutely fantastic. And I'm glad to see them going in. And I know Scott Steiner, I mean, like I said, he's one that the opinion of him, a lot of people just don't have a real strong opinion because he is, if bad like a better, he's mouthy.
Yeah.
He just says whatever. And, but as a team, absolutely. They deserve
well deserved. Yep.
But they're going to have that. And I'm guessing they're going to have it after the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, because really, what can they do on SmackDown?
Nothing really, I don't think. Just a lot of video packages and last minute promos is all I can really think of, and some matches with people that aren't on the card. Well, I take that back, because Ricochet is defending the Intercontinental title against Humberto and Angel.
Brett.
Yep.
Well, the first match that they have listed for the second night, by the way, Justin just texted me and he said, send me the link. And so I just said, hey, what's your best email address? Or you know what? I'm just going to send it to him across Facebook Messenger. Or never mind, he's sending me the email address now. I bet. But what was I saying? I totally just lost my own train of thought.
The matches for night 2.
The first one is the four-way, the Fatal 4-Way tag team match for the women's tag team. Next, I'm not even.
The problem is they haven't built this up very well, and they don't really care about the women's tag team titles. But Carmella and Zelina Vega, they're losing. They're going to lose. They're going to split up. All this stuff. I just don't know who is going to win. I personally think that Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan should win, but I could see Sasha Banks and Naomi winning.
Okay, I'm trying to get this email address correct. It looks like there might be a typo in it, but I'm about to find out. And you know what else I'm going to do? I'm going to send it to him in a Facebook Messenger post as well. All right. Is it copy invitation? No, sorry, folks. But continue on, Joellen. Entertain our guest. Wow.
I was just saying, I think there's going to be a title change, because Carmella and Zelina are going to lose because they've been feuding, and they're going to split up anyway. I feel like Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan should win.
That to me would make more sense than any of the other ones.
Yeah, but I mean, I could see them giving it to Sasha and Naomi, but just my prediction is Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan win the tag titles.
And let me see who the other ones are here in a second, as soon as I'm able to get off my phone. Emailed and sent to your Facebook Messenger. There we go. All right, cool. So now back to our regular scheduled program. And as I'm going to go look, the other teams Ah, here we go. He's made it already. Justin is connecting to audio. Hello, sir.
Hey, how you doing?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
What's going on?
Not much. I mean, you caught us right as we're going through the second half of WrestleMania.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah.
Yep.
I actually really just really quickly got home. I wanted to make sure I was in a perfect setting for you guys.
And yeah, best say Dwaylen really hasn't had the tour of, what's behind you.
Oh, yeah. I just try to, I thought it would be nice to have something people could look at behind me. So
Yeah.
I got the Rams jersey that when they won the NFC championship. I also have the Bengals one as well. I'll swap out once in a while. This Merriman jersey behind me is my uncle. Resemblance of, for him, just put it up there. We actually we have the license plate and then this TNC SportsTalk sign that was made back at Cavalcade Customs down in Cincinnati back at the beginning of the year.
Oh, okay.
So, and then I kind of got into some new interesting hobbies and collectibles while Trey, collects Funko Pops. I collect bobblehead dolls, and I just picked up, in honorary of The Undertaker, I just picked up the Undertaker bobblehead doll from the WWE shop.
Nice.
So it's kind of like just hobby. People could enjoy the background,
And for anybody, who doesn't know, this is Justin from the J&Trey Podcast, TNC SportsTalk show. You've heard us talk about him, and we've heard, obviously, we've said mostly good things about you. No, it's always been good because, like I told people, they've always been good to us, so we try to be as good to them as what we can. So yeah, this is finally Justin can be on our show, and you told me that you were actually wanting to talk about a possible project.
Yeah, so I was actually messaging Big Mama earlier today from NWF, and you know how they're having their women's event, May 28th, I believe, which is about 2 months out.
Yeah, it's Memorial Day weekend. I know that.
And so, I'm a very firm, kind of ambassador, we want to say, to encouraging and supporting the women's rise in professional wrestling, and pretty much in all sports. And so I really feel like for me, trying to help support this event that they have coming up in May. We're going to, at least I know the TNC SportsTalk, when we would like to extend the project out to you guys, if you guys want to help maybe get involved as well. We want to try to raise some sort of fundings to help support them on their event. Exactly how much, I don't really quite know, but we're just gonna do our best to try to help support and then help promote their stuff. I got just been confirmed that Big Mama will be on May 8th on our show.
Okay.
And so kind of getting, in the month of May, we're going to try to get a couple of those female, talent, superstars trying to, maybe come on our show, maybe pass some your way as well. And kind of, share that, that, I guess, spotlight, whatever you want to call it. But I want to come together and try to maybe raise something to help support them.
I'm actually going to send you something on Facebook Messenger because Big Mama actually sent this to me.
Oh.
Do you remember when we were talking to her at Ludlow?
Yeah.
And she said that she was going to send me something, but it wasn't for public knowledge yet. Well, this is the thing that she sent to me because 2 weeks later it became public. And I'm surprised they haven't actually mentioned more of it, but it's a way you can actually sponsor. Here you go. It's a way they have rooms for sponsors, basically, for advertisers. You can get yourself in the program. You can get yourself in, like, depending on what package you get. You could even have one where you are they will say, this match is sponsored by the TNC SportsTalk.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
I just sent it to you. So, but yeah, absolutely. I mean, and if you want to collaborate, because I was going to, try to do something myself, but actually so is my wife, because my wife has a travel agency.
Mhm.
And then my car went in the shop, and then I got it out, and it's back in the shop again.
Wow.
So, and it's going to be all in all between the two trips, it's going to be about $4,000 that I've been having to spend on this car that we're about to trade in once it comes back out of the shop.
She just got a new car.
Yeah, we're going to be getting a new car here soon. But yeah, but it's the few $1,000s I've had to spend in fixing this car that cut into the money I was going to use, for that. In fact, I let Big Mama, I need to actually let her know that, because I know we've talked a couple times about me sponsor, but yeah. But that may be something, maybe if you want to collab between the two shows. What do you think, Dwaylen?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think it's a great idea.
Because you think you're a big supporter of women's wrestling? Look at the man right there.
It's just, I'm thinking of this event. I mean, it doesn't happen often. They really don't get a lot of spotlight. I mean, how often do we go to NWF wrestling events and we don't see a lot of female, matches? And I kind of wish they put more out there. And, I just thought maybe something that, with, Trey reaching out to, maybe some of his people, get the word around, have them come back to one place where they could just kind of put it on the bundle. And then, on the day of the event, here's whatever we could collect, just for support. I mean, for them.
Oh, I definitely agree. I mean, I think that'd be an absolutely fantastic idea. So, not necessarily right after the show, because right after the show, I'm probably going to go to bed because I'm old.
Yeah, it's gonna be late. It's gonna be late for Steve, but
yeah, and of course I have to make sure I'm up in time to hopefully catch your show tomorrow at 10 o'clock. I have a meeting.
Oh no.
Yeah, I believe I have a meeting at like 10:30. I'm not going to pull up my work computer to look, but if I can, I'm gonna try to catch. I've been trying to catch it. Because now my work hours aren't as crazy. I mean, you can ask Dwaylen a couple of the shows. I came on and afterwards, Dwaylen was like, "Dude, I could tell you are tired," because I was like, "What? Yeah, podcast, yeah." I mean, it was, but yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, we'll discuss some more details. But right now, since we're talking about the second half of the show, and I don't want to spoil your show, because I also want to give them kind of a plug, because I know you're actually going to be talking about this very thing tomorrow on your show. But we've already covered the first half, so I don't have to worry about that. And as well, I was saying about there's no stipulation matches. There is one, and because there's one, and it's a match that nobody really cares about, even the people participating.
Like nobody asked for.
Yeah, nobody wanted this. Nobody wanted to see Johnny Knoxville in a ring.
Yeah, I'm just going to. For me, this is another one of those matches that I care absolutely nothing about. Johnny Knoxville's going to win this match.
Yeah, because they're burying Sami Zayn.
Well, and I mean, I'll give it to Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn has found his spot. He has found what works for him within the WWE. Machine, so to speak. So he's going to lose. They're going to have a big brawl, because it is like no holds barred and all that. Johnny Knoxville is going to do some crazy stunt work probably, but Johnny Knoxville will win this match, and it'll be one of those matches that I'll just be sitting there like, well, actually, I'll be watching on my phone, because we've got like a busy weekend, like all weekend and into Monday. So I'll be like this going, is there any way I can fast forward?
And it's like, this is the second night. So I was going to say, well, isn't there another Final Four game? No. So
it's like, is there something else? So I'm just going to watch Hulu until this is over.
By the way, the Carolina game, I don't want to mention that other team. The Carolina game, by the way, Dwaylen's also a big Carolina fan.
Yeah.
So
I'm rooting for Carolina. I really am. Just because it's going to be a really good game. I'm not trying to mention the other team, but but it's going to be a really good game, and I'm honestly rooting for Carolina and Kansas in the finals. That's kind of where I want to see it at. But talking about the game really fast, did you guys hear about what happened today? Let me ask you guys this. Would you guys feel upset if maybe, let's say, for example, hypothetically, SummerSlam was at the end of July or end of August, and Joe Burrow, the first game of the season, right, of the Bengals, and SummerSlam are on the same day, And Joe Burrow says, you know what? And it's a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Eric Church. You're talking about Eric Church.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dwayne, did you hear about that?
Kind of pissed
No,
off
I didn't hear about that.
Eric Church had a concert Saturday night in San Antonio. He canceled the concert because he's a huge North Carolina fan and he wants to watch Carolina and Duke in the Final Four.
Oh.
And I'm like, dude, that's
and the fans are letting him have it.
Oh, that's a bad look. I don't care what the reason is. You don't tell them.
Yeah, that's not a good look.
You say I've got like pneumonia or athlete's foot or something like that. You don't tell them you're going to cancel it to go watch a basketball game. It doesn't matter what the game is because they paid money to see him.
They've made travel arrangements, all this stuff. Yeah, that's not a good look.
Yeah. So, wow.
Can I ask you guys a question here for Sami Zayn and Johnny Knoxville?
Yeah.
I mean, this is all just entertainment purposes, right? If you're bringing a celebrity to fill in time, they really undervalued that Intercontinental Championship, putting on Ricochet, and then now having him to face, a tag team on SmackDown.
Yep.
Wouldn't it have been better or more entertaining, and just in my opinion, to have the IC title at Mania with Sami Zayn and Knoxville, and let's just say, just carry it out. Knoxville wins the IC title for the week. That's the conversation of the week. Johnny Knoxville is now a non-WWE superstar that has the Intercontinental Championship and then drops it again on SmackDown. I mean, for me, there's at least a little bit more published formality going for the IC title compared to it being defended in a match that, which one will you care more about? Knoxville and Zayn or Ricochet taking on Angel Garza and Humberto?
Me personally, I care more about Ricochet facing Humberto, and I care nothing about Sami Zayn and Johnny Knoxville. Just simple fact is I've never been a fan of a celebrity taking a wrestler's spot on any card, but especially on WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even as far back as LT and Bam Bam Bigelow. I didn't agree with that then.
Right.
I also didn't agree with them being the main event of that pay-per-view either. But I just don't. I get they're trying to get the casual fan in and all that, but I just think it's disrespectful to the guys who work their tails off night in and night out to get that opportunity at Mania and then don't get it because, I'm trying to get these casual people in, so I'm going to put Johnny Knoxville and Logan Paul and even bring Pat McAfee off commentary. And just like, I know you got Pat McAfee and Austin Theory.
Yeah, that's the very next match, actually.
I don't care about that match either.
Yeah.
No.
Simply because if you're trying to build up Austin Theory, there's 100 different ways to do it without having him face. I know Pat McAfee is a commentator for WWE. Excuse me. Voice is starting to go out. But he's a former football player. He's still a celebrity in a sense. And they could have put Ricochet defending the Intercontinental title against Austin Theory if you wanted to build up Austin Theory.
Yep.
Considering that Brock Lesnar and Austin Theory just went through at least 10 minutes, maybe 5-10 minutes in the ring, chamber before, was over with. You kind of built him up. You mentioned this.
Yeah.
He was the one who at the end of the night got over.
Yeah.
And now you're putting him back down. And for me, this is no disrespect to Pat McAfee. He's been in the ring before. It's just there's no built up for it.
No.
I thought I was going to see Austin Theory invade Pat McAfee at the Pat McAfee show when Vince McMahon was on. I was very disappointed in that interview because Monday Night Raw prior to that, they were teasing about, hey, did Austin Theory need to come to Pat McAfee show as a, bodyguard to Vince McMahon? So there was just really no purposeful buildup.
Because it's like, that's like classic WWE because it's like we're going to give you these little tidbits to lead you to think that it's leading to something, and then we're just going to forget all about it and move on to something else.
And one of the things also I've kind of noticed about Pat McAfee, his talk show has become like the hottest thing since Sunburn lately.
Yeah.
I mean, since he already is a commentator for the WWE, I know he's not going to be bringing discredit to the sport. And the only celebrity which I'll give a pass to, honestly, is Bad Bunny. And that's because Bad Bunny, I mean, before WrestleMania last year, we're like, why is Bad Bunny in there? Then after the match, we're like, oh my God, did you see what Bad Bunny did? The dude was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, he's the only celebrity that gets a pass for me. Everybody else, it's like, I need you to just.
You're also wondering why, after a great performance at the Rumble, why isn't he not in this year's WrestleMania?
Yeah,
I mean, he took an F5 from Brock Lesnar at the Rumble match. Why did he not get an opportunity? I'd rather see Bad Bunny than Pat McAfee, Johnny Knoxville, even
especially Logan Paul.
Logan Paul, exactly.
I agree. Especially Logan Paul. I need Logan Paul to go away, just away.
And I'm just not looking at the second night and the number of people on the second night, because there's a lot more tag team. There's a fatal 4-way tag match and triple threat tag match. And because the next one is RK Bro, Street Profits, and the Alpha Academy for the Raw Tag Team Championship. I honestly don't know what to think about that one. It's hard. That one's kind of hard to call.
I'm going to go with the Street Profits.
Let me ask you this. One of the big questions teasing around, will Randy Orton turn on Riddle at Mania?
I hope so.
Yeah, I think so. I think he will, because
I think it's time. Yep. I think especially I think the Street Profits are going to win the tag titles, may turn heel in the process because they've been kind of, leaning that way here lately. But even if they don't, Street Profits need to win this. Then they can go on and have a good feud with Alpha Academy, because I think that would be a really good matchup. And then Randy turns on Riddle. That way we get that program going forward. But I think they'll lose the tag titles. Riddle's going to get hit with an RKO, which is going to pop the crowd. The crowd's not going to boo Randy at this point.
Nah, RKO out of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly.
If you also think about it, and I don't know, maybe you guys talked about this, and I apologize if you guys did. Night one is more stacked than night two because of everything going on with the NCAA basketball tournament, Final Four. There's a lot more, like Seth Rollins in that match. Isn't that night one also?
Yep.
You have KO.
Plus, the KO show is supposed to be on night one.
Trey mentioned this morning, and I don't know how true it is, and I disagree if that's the case. They said that the KO show is supposed to main event be the last thing that comes on.
Yes.
And I don't agree with that.
I don't either.
I think it needs to be, honestly, it needs to be Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair, because they have the most selling point and people are more involved into it. One of the things that with Charlotte and Rhonda, they've let this storyline sit for like the last 5 weeks, and they've been back and forth on the microphone, that they haven't really sold me as what they did on Monday with Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. Steve and I talked about this. It should be Becky and Bianca should be main eventing.
And Rhonda and Charlotte should start off the show.
I agree with that too.
And then find the KO show in the middle. You talk about the roller coaster. That's a roller coaster, or at least to be the show, be the segment before the main event.
Yeah.
Because right about that time, because the Carolina game is the second game, so it's not going to be starting until like 9:15.
Right.
You got to think what's going to be going on at the time. They're going to try to put. They're going to be wasting Austin if they're going to try to put him against what's shaping up to be the most watched college football or college basketball game of this year.
Yeah.
So somebody needs to buy them a sports calendar.
Well, and then the fact that they don't, it's still not confirmed that it's going to be a match or not. Maybe he just come down and does some, talking and some, I mean, that makes a difference. If he's going to actually be a bell-to-bell match, more people will watch than just a KO segment.
I don't think it'll be bell-to-bell. It's
right.
19 years is a long time to not compete at all. I mean, he hasn't had any competition in 19 years. He's got 2 bad knees and a bad neck.
Right.
I think a brawl is the most you're going to get.
Now the right here is where Austin could say, "Hey, I can't fight because I got a bad knee and bionic redneck. I'm going to have somebody fight for me." This could be where Cody also shows up.
Yeah.
I would honestly like to see something where Kevin Owens tries to back out last minute, and then you get Shawn Michaels, JBL, Booker T, people who he's heckled over the last 3 months, come out and basically put him back in the ring.
They're all from Texas.
Yeah,
and
from
the
Texas.
Undertaker's from Texas.
And the Undertaker.
And then having Kevin Von Erich having come out, somebody from Texas. So,
excuse me. Sorry, guys.
But yeah, and the next match is listed on here should be a good match, but I'm still not looking forward to it because I think it doesn't do it for me. It's Edge and AJ Styles. That should be a good match.
It should. I think it will be a good match. It's just I need Edge to go home. I just need him to retire. It's done. You've come back. You came back. Defied the odds. We were told you would never be able to wrestle again. You worked your way back. You've had a good run, but I keep saying he's on borrowed time. It's only going to take one missed move or one land the wrong way, and he's in worse shape than he was when he retired.
Well, maybe that's why you put him up against a guy like AJ Styles, who's been in the business for 20 plus years still, and is still that he can. What type of work you get out of AJ Styles.
Yeah, there's a safe. There's not too many wrestlers that are safer than AJ Styles to be in the ring.
Baron Corbin be safer than AJ Styles? Because I heard Baron Corbin's pretty safe.
Yeah, I've heard that too, but I think it'll be a good match. I'm just not. It's another one of those. They haven't built it up.
You know what it is for me is that Edge is wanting to have these so-called dream matches before he maybe gives it up to a up-and-coming star. And AJ Styles was probably one guy he would have loved to go back in time and have a match with, and that's why he's lasting another round. But yeah, I do agree. I mean, there's not much more he could do. I mean, when he came back from the Rumble match last year, right? He won the Rumble match last year, and then that turned into a Danielson triple threat match.
Yeah,
and he's never really re-looked at his purpose of coming back was, hey, I want to recapture the title that I never lost. And he never really kind of paint that picture again after the feud with Seth Rollins.
Well, he also keeps getting hurt again.
Right.
Yeah.
And that also is like, that's a hint and a half right there. You need to just go ahead and you have nothing left to prove. I mean, nobody's going to look down on him because he's Edge.
Matter of fact, you could actually charter your career by keep on going. I mean, look at Goldberg, to be honest. I mean, I enjoy Goldberg, but I mean, every match you go out there, you can't prove. I said, listen, I'm a big Taker fan. I would argue that I'm a bigger Taker fan than both of you guys combined. But I was like, dude, when you got pinned by Brock Lesnar, I think it was time.
Yeah.
Just you lived on the WrestleMania career. You broke, the streak is broken, or even after Roman Reigns, like that was it. Like, man,
that was supposed to be it, but that's why he left all his stuff in the ring. But he said his performance was subpar.
Right. And then John Cena, that could have been it too. And
every performance after that was subpar, except for the Boneyard match, because it was designed to make him look good.
And the only reason why John Cena was good was because it was a one-way match.
Yeah. Yep. It was a squash. Yeah.
But so what do you think? AJ is going to go over or Edge? And who should go over?
Okay. AJ should go over, but I believe Edge will win.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I can say that.
Exactly. I feel Edge needs this win more because right now he's still trying to prove that he could still make it in the ring. I feel like that's the only thing. I mean, he mentioned on Monday that both of them needed. AJ Styles doesn't need this match. Edge needs this match more than anything else.
That is
because
true.
He needs to prove that he can still go.
Yeah.
And not only that, but AJ could, kind of say, I'm getting revenge because when Edge came back in the Royal Rumble, all of a sudden after being gone for 9 years, he speared AJ and separated his shoulder.
Yeah.
So, but the next match is one that was just set up, and I texted Dwayne and I said, hey, Bobby Lashley's back. Oh my God. They're putting him in a program with Almost, and sure enough, that was what they scheduled for WrestleMania. Oh, why are they doing this to Bobby Lashley?
Can I be honest with you? I heard that, I don't know how much these rumors stand true. What's the deal with Gable Stevenson supposed to be appearing at WrestleMania? I thought he would have been a great opponent for Omos or almost.
I haven't heard much about Gable. I mean, I know who he is, but
he's supposed to be. I think he's supposed to be at WrestleMania, but I don't think he can compete just yet because I don't think he can compete till after he graduates.
Okay,
he hasn't graduated yet.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Now give it like a month or two, depending on what his college's.
I'm getting excited to see him, to be honest.
Because he won the NCAA heavyweight wrestling title again, but I think he's got to graduate first before they'll let him compete.
Yeah, I don't know how that affects their amateur status, because even though it is a work, but he's still getting paid to do the things that he may have. So.
Yep.
But I don't know. That's when, Almost is going to win.
Yeah, Almost is going to win, which is ridiculous because Bobby Lashley is former WWE champion, a recent former WWE champion, and Almost is still green. I mean, I know he's very green, but my thing is send him to NXT. That's, you rebuilt NXT to be a true developmental. So send him down there so he can develop.
Oh,
and bring back Aziz. Aziz has wrestled 10 times in the past 7 years, something like that.
He has had 10 television matches in 7 years.
Yeah. So that's just horrible.
Yeah.
And this match is probably going to be horrible. I'm going to do like a Charles Barkley. That's terrible.
That's terrible.
It is.
Terrible.
So did I miss something, or did we never get to see the feud finish between Omos and AJ Styles? Like, I thought that would have been a great WrestleMania match.
They just dropped it.
Just disappeared.
They said AJ went to NXT for a couple of weeks, and then they had one match. Almost pretty much squashed AJ, and then that was the end of the feud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the very last match, we all know what it is.
Yep.
Brock and Roman supposed to be unifying the titles. We'll see if they actually do unify the titles, but the third time they're having this match and there's no stipulations with it, they should have put like Paul Heyman on a forklift or something.
Hell in a Cell match. I'm sorry, Hell in a Cell. That's the only way to conclude this chapter.
Well, they had a Hell in a Cell match before though,
but this time it's Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns. Nowhere to go.
Yeah, very true.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry.
This is actually a hard one to call because I can't even figure out who should win and who will win.
And if you think about their past rivalries, and they haven't really lived up to the expectation. I mean, I don't know. I had the article on the show a couple of days ago where they kind of failed at this rivalry since day one. And I mean, it all goes back to, even Seth Rollins cashing in at WrestleMania. It didn't get that same conclusion for who's the better man. And they kind of failed it each and every time them two meet, and they have the perfect opportunity to have this. Since I feel like this is the only way to go. I don't know what else. I mean, okay, do it like a Paul Ellering where you put him in the cage and he surrendered up. Or one of those matches. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in the whole, if you win, you get 5 minutes with Paul Heyman type thing. But I mean, Hell in a Cell would have been great to end out WrestleMania this year.
Well, I mean, who's walking out with the win?
Roman.
You think Roman?
It's got to be it. It's got to be Roman. It's not. It works if it's Roman.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
It's going to be. Yeah.
To me, it doesn't work if it's Brock. Because Roman is, Roman's built this tribal tree, this head of the table character to where people are into it. He's getting the reactions that Vince was trying to force, 4 or 5 years ago. He's getting those reactions now. And I think you get a lot better matches and a lot better stories if Roman is the unified champion. Especially,
can I ask you guys a question for like a future reference?
Yeah.
There's a hypothetical statement, and this is just hypothetically. The Dwayne Johnson and Roman Reigns next year's WrestleMania. If they are to go to that route, maybe Roman Reigns has had this title for how long? He's been on air. He's been the face for how long? Isn't he overdue for maybe some time off air? What happens if you bring him, if you give the title to Brock, he helps run SmackDown, you re-image the new title because you got to change the title image if you're going to bring another one for for Raw and redo it that way. And then maybe around Survivor Series, maybe around SummerSlam, bring Roman back, conquer Brock Lesnar once again, be the reign of the thrones, and then kind of start building your way to WrestleMania that way. Because in that way you give Roman Reigns a little bit of time off. You know his conditions and how they come and go. I mean, I kind of feel like it's almost time for him just to take some time off with the Usos, and just kind of get ready for what's to come next year.
One of the things when they keep having the same two people in a match together, like this, and they're like, yeah, this feud is drawing money, but the problem is then you run into the situation that like what happened at the Royal Rumble 2014 with Cena and Randy Orton, where people were booing them because they were tired of seeing them.
Right.
They
elevate it though. I mean, look at Edge and Seth Rollins, that feud, they elevated it to a Hell in a Cell match, which if it wasn't, it would have just died out. I think we're done seeing Edge and Seth Rollins for at Crown Jewel last fall.
Something. Whoever you're going to say, Dwayne.
I was going to say that I see what you're saying, but the thing is, Brock only works so many days.
Yep.
And if you put the belt on him, if you put the unified title on him, then you run the risk of what you've always had since Brock's come back. And that's, you've got huge gaps of no world champion on your show. And I think just with Roman doesn't have to wrestle every week, but I think just Roman's presence on the show brings more people in than Brock. Like, it's a difference between the casual fan and the wrestling fan. The casual fan is going to show up for Lesnar and they're going to disappear as quick as he does.
Mm-hmm.
The wrestling fan is going to show up for Roman because they've seen the work that he's put in to this character. And I get what you're saying about him needing some time off and everything, but right now there's nobody for him to lose to. They've done a fantastic job of letting him build his character into something phenomenal, but they haven't built any credible challengers to challenge him. That's why we're getting another match with him and Brock.
I can think of one person that could live up to the potential of challenging him and defeating him, but I don't know if one, he is all the way ready, and two, if the WWE is willing to put that on him at this moment because of what he's doing somewhere else.
Who's that?
It's Braun Breaker. Think about another big hit that could
will be eventually. He's not ready. He's been in the business, a year?
No, but he's already gotten NXT 2.0 a big pop.
Yeah, do I think he's main roster ready? Actually, yes.
Yes.
But he is not main event ready. Not main roster, main
event
Roman
ready. Caliber.
That's a lot to throw in somebody that young to say, okay, we're going to put the company on your back now.
Yeah.
Now, go. And his dad would probably, and his uncle both would probably tell him, no, you're not ready yet.
Right.
Yeah.
You will be eventually, but you're not ready just yet. But just now that we're through the card, I mean, I want to, because a lot of times when we advertise your podcast, and sorry, I'm kind of changing the subject a little bit. When we advertise, I feel like we don't give you enough due as far as where all people can actually find your podcast. Because obviously you're on YouTube because you stream what is next week? You're going like all 7 days.
Yes.
Are you trying not to sleep?
Yeah, I'm not going to get no sleep next week. I felt like it was due. Like, listen, the hype after WrestleMania, you got to be in there Monday, getting you ready for Monday Night Raw. And then after the aftermath of Raw is always something to talk about. And then we got Noah Gabriel on Wednesday. And then, it's our regular week. We might as well just finish out the week if we're already gotten that far into it. So,
right.
Yeah, I'm doing a marathon next week, but I do feel like putting in the work is it's definitely worth it.
You'll have a great show with Noah. I mean, what?
Oh yeah,
yeah. He's been one of our favorite guests. I mean, And that's saying something because we haven't had any bad guests at all. But Noah was one of the ones that just the impression he left on us. And then if you get to know him as a human being, it's even more so. Yeah, it's such a great guy, man. So I'm looking forward to, if I can't watch it live, I would definitely be making it a point. I'm going to watch this one after the fact, because I'm not always able to catch even shows even after the fact. Yeah, trust me, these last few weeks have just been, oh God, they've been bad. I'm texting to Dwaylen 8:00. I'm still at the office.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then you're going to have Big Mama coming on, man. That's absolutely fantastic. But so they can catch you. So is it going to be 10:00 in the morning every morning for a week?
So yeah, so we're going to finish off our week tomorrow from 10 to noon. Just going to be, we're not going to air anything on Saturday or Sunday because of WrestleMania. We're not going to compete. Plus we'll be too distracted. Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to noon. And then we're back at it 10 p.m. to midnight, Saturday and Sunday. And it's one of those schedules. I know it's kind of off. It throws people off, but it works for both of us considering, right. I have a 40-hour week job, and then it gives us time to do things over the weekend.
Right.
All right, cool. So so they can catch you on YouTube. And what are all the audio platforms you're
on? So I know that I stream directly to I upload everything to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. But you could Google search us and find us almost on anything you could find podcast listening on. Honestly.
Yeah, that happened. When I did a search of us, all of a sudden I'm discovering all these third-party platforms. I'm like, oh my God, we're all over the place.
Yes. So I can't really name all of those ones, but I mean, I don't deal with iHeartRadio. I'm just not.
Yeah, don't just trust me.
Yeah.
Don't. I mean, they're good. They. I'm not saying they are just totally horrible. They're good with some things, but apparently podcasts are not their strong suit.
Yeah, I'm just staying away from them at all ends meet.
And you also have your own merch store, and I know that because yesterday I bought one of your shirts with your new design.
Yes. Yeah. I don't even have it with me today. It's over there. Sorry. Well, you know what? I have the phone case. If that.
Oh, there
works.
you go. See.
This was actually hand designed by a good friend of Trey's. His name is Adam Lee. And he does artwork, and he created our design here. And now this is just our TNC SportsTalk, YouTube channel logo. And now he's, currently working on his stuff over here for for our J&Trey Podcast. And, he's also willing, I know you guys mentioned this on last episode, but he's willing to, work with you guys, do something for you guys if you guys are wanting that to, as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think it'd be cool. I mean, because I've seen the work he does there. So, and you mentioned something about him. Like one of the ideas he has, is going to have like myself and Dwaylen as like cartoons in a ring. I mean, we need to be cartoons anyway, because I mean, if one thing you got to know about Dwaylen, he is Batman. And so, Batman is his favorite just superhero, period.
Yeah.
So anytime I see anything Batman, I always send it to him. And even if it's not something that's not even that funny, I'm like, well, you know the rules. If it's Batman, I'm going to send it to him. But so, I mean, that kind of makes sense to make us, into cartoons as well. I mean, I'd like kind of like to see that, of course I'm so fat. I don't know if you have enough ink for it, but
he's making, he's going to be making Trey and I as cartoons, with the J&Trey Podcast logo. I think one of the ideas that ran by was kind of like your ring segment, but just have your bodies in the ring kind of cornered, and then have the armchair booking around the apron, the curtain that's over the ring. Does that make sense?
It does, because actually Dwaylen's wife Hope, she came with something kind of similar. With the armchair booking across the apron.
Yeah. And then have you two stand in the ring, maybe up against the turnbuckle or something like that. So maybe not the entire ring, but you'll get that abstract, version. Okay.
Wow. Yes, definitely have him, get in contact with us.
Yeah.
The email, and you know how to get a hold of us. So, so tell him just to, definitely. I mean, I'd like to negotiate something with him.
Yeah.
Because I think that'd be really, kind of fantastic actually, because I can't draw worth of crap. They said you're going to die unless you draw. No, I'd be dead. So, but in the meantime, before we go, I showed this earlier to the audience, but you weren't here yet. Dwaylen, I got to show it again.
Okay.
And I got to share my screen, Justin. and this might make you laugh, but this was me and Dwaylen. This was 31 years ago.
Yep.
So, we've talked about how long we've been friends, and we've actually said we were part of the chess club officers. And that's why Dwaylen was the vice president, and I was either secretary or treasurer. It's on one of the other things. But yeah, this was the picture that was out of the yearbook, and I had another friend of ours actually scanned it and sent it. So, and I'll put it on Facebook later on, Dwaylen, just to continue it on, just so we can get people laughing at us. It's about to say, hey, if you want to see this also, it's going to be on the podcast on the YouTube channel. So, yeah, but I figured I'd share that with you, Justin. So, because I don't know if you're going to go back and watch this, because I can't watch myself.
I mean, I'm good.
But
that was one of when I first started. I mean, I don't know. I don't consider myself having the face or the voice for any of this, and I'm like, I can't. It's hard to even listen to myself today, but I do that because I'm like my most hardest critic. That's my own work.
Exactly.
And I'm like, if I could overcome that, it's I think it will go a long way. One thing, we're hopefully planning on some great things in the summertime that I'm gonna have to get used to it also.
Yeah, because I mean, and I have to go back because I do some editing for the show, so I have to listen to us, and I'm like, oh man, did I really just say that?
Yeah, can I edit that or anything like that?
But in the meantime, go check out J&Trey, TNC Sports Talk. It's going to be on every day next week, 10 o'clock in the morning on YouTube. And as I get the links, hopefully I can also share them as well. And Dwaylen, you're also friends with Justin on Facebook. So when you get the hey, you're also working at the same time I am. So I know we both kind of have that conflict there, whatever, who needs that? But yeah, go check them out. You've heard us talk about it. Now everybody finally gets to meet Justin. So yay.
Hey, and listen, I appreciate you having me on. I know I think the last time you had Jake and Trey on, and I'm just glad to be able to have you guys invite me on your show.
Absolutely.
Long overdue.
Yeah, I mean, I was just on your show Saturday. I was like a last minute, hey, God, man, we don't have any guests. And I said, send me a link.
It actually saved us. I know Trey was pretty tired. He was doing 4 consecutive early in the mornings, and his sleep schedule's kind of torqued that way where after the third day, it's like, I got to
I can tell he was kind of hurting a little bit, so. But yeah, thank you for coming on. We'll definitely have to do it again, especially for something like this. I mean, because we're all wrestling podcast hosts. I mean, we're all wrestling experts.
Yeah.
Especially Dwaylen. He really is the resident expert. I mean, I'm not even going to try to say that and I know a lot about it, but I can't even hold a candle to what Dwaylen knows. But yeah, absolutely. Thank you for coming on. And I got to go ahead and get going for all of us. And just hang out after I stop the recording, and we'll talk about some other stuff. But for now, God bless.
All right. Thank you.